You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 124 for April 2025. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John. Well, we've been talking for a little bit, so I know how you're doing.
just say it for me, right? This would be the Alan show.
So we have a few topics to talk about before we get into links. There's a lot of links this week. Mostly you.
I may have done. Oh wait,
Too much?
Wow. My camera is like going all ham. Hello.
Oh, it's a webcam, so what do you
Yeah.
expect? No one can see that on this audio podcast, though.
What if I make a video podcast?
Well, then it would just be me, my talking bubble.
Yeah. We had some audio issues at the beginning because something changed. I had a similar issue this morning where I was trying to record some Stardew footage, and it turns out that my microphone was not recording the last two episodes, so I have two episodes with no speaking on it. So fun times.
Well, you can always do your ADR on it.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Something sort of reset for me. So I just, it's one of those things because you and I do a remote thing differently than I do with like the normal podcast. So, you set your settings, you have some idea what you did last time you had this problem, you figure it out, you go through the troubleshooting, you get it to work. But here, they're all different.
I think it happened after a recent update.
Yeah, I got an update here, but it was a problem before I took the update here. This happens to me occasionally, and then
so we
you just go through
it. We get Bill Gates and we string him up.
Well, in this case, I'm running
shooting,
all the
throwing eggs,
except for the main board. I'm running all this peripheral audio interfaces through another USB. And it was connected directly into the back, which would be connected to the motherboard. And then there's a couple spots for things that are like on the front of the tower that are also connected directly to the motherboard. So for some reason that port was dead or wasn't responding to that. So I just moved it to that front port and then everything came back. The system recognized it. So not really sure what's going on. The system is aging, but it's never been doing anything tough other than, these recordings. So acting as an interface between hardware and, the conference software that we use.
Google Meet.
In this case, in OG, we do something different.
You use Zoom, right?
Yeah, we use Zoom.
So I had a little oopsie in the beginning of the year. I don't know if I talked about it on the last episode. I think we recorded before I found it out. But I had a little oopsie where I like Pepsi. So I normally get Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
I have the zero. And then I get so there was a discount on cola. And also the Cola Zero. So I was like, okay, this is a very nice discount. Let me just, get a bunch of it so I can have it for like a couple of weeks. I have enough. And turned out that when I purchased that, I also purchased like a bunch of bottles of
the normal,
the not zero cola.
Okay.
And I didn't pay attention.
So you've been drinking.
It's not like I threw it out. I didn't notice until I was handing in the bottles to get my money back.
So you've been sort of having lots of sugar without thinking.
Yeah, so my glucose, like my budget of carbs in a day was being used up before I was able to, get normal carb stuff. So yeah. So if normally if I were to just take, like, I could get some rice in the evening and whatever, and as long as I balance it enough, like there's not like a big spike, not too big of a spike, that I can handle it. So it's normally fine. But like if you then also like drink drink like a bottle of Pepsi full cola, a cola full sugar with it, yeah, yeah, that's quite the pickle.
Hmm. Um, I've always noticed now. I don't drink Pepsi, and I really don't even drink Diet Coke, or Coke Zero, or whatever the equivalent is. You can usually taste something.
Oh yeah, but I thought it was just it tasted better. I thought,
Hmm.
hey, they changed their flavoring. Yeah, yeah. So I noticed when I tossed the last bottle into the machine. I
Hmm.
was like, wait, why is that? Why are the letters white? What? So and I couldn't get the other bottles back because they've already been processed. So I was like, oh fuck, oh no, oh no. So what I did, because like a week and a half after that, I had my meeting with the diabetes um, nurse thing, and I was like, okay, I gotta figure out how far away am I. And I had already been like checking because I had coming up, so I was like checking my glucose. I was like, why am I so high? Why is this so high? This is not good. What is happening? I didn't like go all out during Christmas or anything, right? Normally that's the time of year where you eat something you're not supposed to. And yeah, I was like, oh, yep, that's why.
So
So
you,
I got myself one of those glucose sensors that you can just stick on your arm,
hmm
and that was a bit of a scary thing to do because that thing has a needle in it,
yeah.
and
Usually you slap it on your arm
yeah,
and you bandage it down, and that needle is going in you.
yeah, but it
And
doesn't stay in you.
well, in this case, it didn't for you. I don't
No,
know
no,
about
it
the
it
other.
didn't. It doesn't stay in you. The needle doesn't stay in. The needle is feeds into. There's like a little filament that it
Yeah.
punches into your skin, and the
Oh,
filament
okay,
stays in your skin.
got it. So it
But this
broke.
is also something interesting because the amount of like electronics, that goes into that, like there's a battery, there's like a chip, there's all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff like this Bluetooth stuff. That battery can last like 6-7 months easily, and the only thing that needs to be replacing is the filament. But because they want to sell it, so it's only good for 2 weeks, and then you have to get a new one.
Wow,
Yep.
that's a waste. I've heard of the other sensors that I thought about. Do I really need one of those? And I thought I'm not sure that I want to go through the process of that.
Yeah. So there is like a bunch of different ones, but I don't like the waste.
Yeah,
So
there's like Sensuo or something. It was another one that I've seen advertised. I
oh,
don't
they
know if
have a
I'm getting that right.
non-invasive glucose meter. Interesting. Interesting.
Well, look at that later. Don't get distracted. We are
All right,
recording.
I'm just gonna bookmark this. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I had a problem because I was like, oh, why am I so high? Then I figured out why I was so high, and then I was like, okay, let me just get one of those patches. Yep, and that kind of coincided. So, and then I've been playing around with that. I had my first accident with it too, like with the first one, after like a week and a half, almost like a week. I had some people over and I was like cleaning up after it, and uh, I walked past the door and the door took the sensor off my arm. Or at least I walked into the side frame of the door and it took the sensor off. That was painful, I can tell you.
I was gonna ask, yeah.
Guess it yanks the filament out. Like normally you would do that yourself, but like, yeah. So it came off and then it was still stuck to my skin, and then I just peeled the rest off. Yeah.
Hmm.
It feels awkward, but applying it doesn't hurt at all. Like you feel a pinch, but that's about it. There's not a lot of pain in that. But it really, so far it's been good. I've been noticing that I'm not drinking enough water. So when I drink water, then my glucose goes down. So that really seems to help. I should be drinking more water. And but overall it's been okay. It's been going down. I got metformin again from the doctor. She was like, okay. Even though it's more like I asked her, so she offered it. I was like, yeah, but then I'm basically cheating. I want the. It's more. I didn't want to cheat on it. If that makes sense. I was managing it myself.
Right.
And it was doing fine, and then I made a mistake, and then,
The advantage of something like metformin is it's providing your body some chemistry, some training. Our bodies adapt. So if it gets a little assist, our bodies sort of learn to do better. If they can't naturally do it, that's a different problem. So, whether you have to rely on it or not, that becomes a different kind of problem for you. But also, metformin doesn't do a lot of damage. It just helps. It's one of the better diabetic medicines.
Yep. It's one of the oldest, I think. I think it's the oldest.
Yeah. Oh, well, insulin. Synthetic insulin. I mean, now it's synthetic. It used to not be synthetic.
Anyway, so that worked really well. The metformin really helped already, quite a bunch. But I have to like just on one per day, and I'm like keeping track of it. And then if I've already forgotten it one day, I didn't notice any difference in my glucose value. So it's like, okay,
probably a good thing.
Yeah, but like it's kind of funny that it didn't it's not really helping then. So should I continue?
I mean, how strong of an amount is it? Probably a low amount.
It's 500.
Okay, so that's a low amount.
One a day. But like I'm already because I know where it came from, and I immediately stopped because I didn't have any more. I didn't have any cola anymore. Yeah. So normally I could have a cheat. Like I could have a croissant and not be in trouble. But now I would be having that croissant and having the cola and having, something else that would be like normal food stuffs. And like the protein, eventually protein and fats, eventually they get transferred into glucose too. So, you'll get dinged a little bit later.
So I had a friend who was like, Alan, you're baking a lot of bread, Alan. And I go, yeah, it's sourdough. And she's like, yeah, but you're baking a lot of bread. Are you eating all of it, or were you tossing it out? And I was like, no, I give stuff away. But also it's sourdough. And she didn't understand that it helps with your digestion. And the other comment was, I'm not eating a loaf a day, but I do have some of it, and I don't get a carb hit compared to even artisan bread. I'll get a little bit of a carb hit if I buy store-bought processed stuff here in America. I will definitely get a carb hit, and I will feel it. I don't get any carb hits. I could have a quarter of the loaf, and I don't feel any carb hit. And because I've been cooking a little bit more naturally lately, I don't feel those bad carbs anymore. I also don't feel like I am racing this snack. Though I've done it. I've had a couple days last week where I was eating pretzels, but I just don't feel as much strong urge.
Is that this same pretzel supply you had on your desk like a couple of months ago?
No, those are gone.
New pretzels.
New pretzels. No, I will. That's sort of my core snack. I'll go through that and popcorn. I'll go through popcorn a lot. So
I've been telling people that I'm now a Tamagotchi. I'm like the Tamagotchi I'm trying to keep alive. The dumb animal is me.
And my response to that joke, because I was going through a lot of, I'm getting really good at the sourdough, and I'm getting really good at, I have some really active starters now, to the point where I named them after the Muppets. And so the first two were Statler and Waldorf, then eventually Kermit, and now I have Fozzie, and I have Ralph. Ralph is the bake jar. And so it's been getting so active that it's coming out of the big jar that I bought 2 new jars, which I'm washing right now, quarter-gallon jars.
You're saying you're having a collection of jars.
I do. I had jars from cold brew stuff. So point being is that the joke in my head was, I should rename them after Little Shop of Horrors. Audrey 1, Audrey 2, Audrey 3, Audrey 4, Audrey 5, so because Feed Me, right? The plant, Audrey.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, okay. So there's a big old plant, right? A murderous plant. And it's one of its things is it's,
I understand the reference.
Yeah.
I know some of it, but I never watched that movie.
But I got to the point where I've really cultivated a very active starter, and it's been sort of bursting out. And when you made that joke, I said my sourdough starters are more like my Tamagotchis.
Because you were the Tamagotchi.
No, because I had to feed them all the time, and take care of them on a daily basis. Now I've basically fridged all of them, so I have now only once a week I have to worry about it. But
I saw a thing about a vape with a Tamagotchi in it. It's like an art project or something, I think.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, wow, that's dumb.
It is. Vaping is dumb.
Yep. Well, anyway, so back to the thing. I like it because it gives me some insight in how I feel versus what my glucose actually is.
Mm-hmm.
It is not as fast as getting the blood check. So if I do the jab,
right, because it's immediate. Yeah.
I was just really done with jabbing my fingers, and because my glucose was all messed up, I was also irritated a lot. So I didn't want to jab my fingers while I was irritated. So
when I did it more on the regular basis, I would do. Let's say I take my left hand. And I would do every finger every day, or every check. I'd, go from thumb, index, middle, all the way down to pinky, on the right side of the finger. And then when I was done with that, then I would switch to the right side and do the same thing.
Left side,
right?
Yeah.
And then I would alternate it from, let's say, left on the left side of the finger.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that much, but I was like, I don't want to jab myself in the finger anymore.
Right. And so I stopped doing it because I noticed that if I did it every day, I wasn't making an improvement. It did just, no matter if I starved myself, I wasn't dramatically getting anything out of it. So I stopped, I slowed down to let my fingers heal. And of course, my doctor is like, why aren't you doing it every day? I said, because I already know what my senses are and what my indicators are. And if I feel a concern, I'll go check. But I'm not doing it every morning because I'm not gaining anything out of knowing what that number is top of the morning. Because then I go eat lunch. And if I test again, I'm just not getting any value of having that input anymore. It was good when I started. It's not great anymore. And I know if I'm having a problem, if I wake up and I'm having a problem. Like I know most people aren't aware of their body and their stuff. They just, They eat their cereal, they eat their donut. They're more routine people. Most people are stuck in a routine. I am very conscious of what I'm doing most of the time. And so those early days, I had a lot of bad indicators, and I should have trained myself to understand, and I was pricking myself every single day. And so I could back it up with some real data. So to make sure that my fingers could heal, my skin could heal, and I wasn't just, lacerating myself every freaking day twice over, I slowed down, and I rely mostly on my indicators to kind of help me through that. And if I have some concerns, every once in a while, I'll go and I'll test. So
I like it because it gives me more of like a confirmation of like, oh, this is where I'm at. So I know better. I can more estimate better how I feel with how what the glucose might be.
I showed last job. I showed a coworker my home assistant dashboard, and he's like, "What do you do with all that information?" I said, "When I have doubts, I go look at the data, and I know that it's cold for whatever reason, but it wasn't cold yesterday like this, but it's cold now. So, and I check the rest of the house, and I check the different areas, and like, okay, now I know I have a particular unique problem, and I have data, so I can trend it. I can look at it. I can go look back at the data, and then I can confirm, and I don't have any kind of made up doubts in my head,
Yeah.
And so that's the one advantage of checking yourself every day, or having a sensor that's on you that maybe not 100% accurate, or maybe not real time, but at least it's something. It's better than not having anything at all.
Yep. So I've been using the Freestyle Libra 2. They cost about 65 euros every 2 weeks.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but in America it's even more expensive.
Yeah, I don't know what the ones I've seen advertised. I haven't seen them advertised recently, but they used to be all over the place, in past time.
Yeah, so in the US they cost $175 per 28 days. So that's a two thing without insurance.
Oh, okay.
With insurance, it's still 75 euros, $75
with insurance.
For you, yes.
Yeah, still a lot.
Yep. And I don't get it from the insurance because I have diabetes type 2. So basically get bent. That's their answer.
I know he's now a VP, but there's a guy at Microsoft, and he has shared his story of
Scott Hanselman.
Yeah, Scott Hanselman has shared his story about battling with the insurance companies, and it's totally covered, but they don't want to cover it, and he goes back and forth, and he knows the process, and it's thousands of dollars, but he has one that's like surgically in him.
Yeah. I don't need that.
And he's type 1. He's not type 2. Diabetic.
A colleague of mine is type 1,
and
he has this sensor on him. So I was like, so which one do you have? More like getting all the information. Does it hurt? Yeah.
I would figure the filament is easy to break, especially if you're moving around a lot. I wonder how does that work if I go to the gym and I'm lifting?
It doesn't. You can. So I got the initial one got taken out really quickly because I was being a dumbass. Because I was getting caught behind the door, and I walked past things quite a bit because there's like a very good adhesive. It adheres very well to your skin, but you're supposed to like clean it really good beforehand and like exfoliate and whatever to and even shave, which is kind of funky.
Oh, with hair.
Yeah.
So I'm not so concerned about the device movement and knocking off. I would think that the adhesive tape would take care of it.
Yeah, but you
it's
can get
the
like a
filament.
patch over it. So you can get a patch over it to like keep it on
Yeah.
your arm.
My thought of concern of going to the gym and lifting wasn't so much of the movement of it externally being affected by physical force
No,
by being scraped off.
no.
I meant it as like the filament sort of moving about while I'm flexing muscles.
Oh no, it doesn't go into the muscle. So the location where they put this, so there's
Yeah.
like on the back of your arm, there's like a
Okay.
little fat pouch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Basically.
There's always a little fat there. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because that's where they stick it.
Got it. Okay.
So
Because I've seen them advertise with, like, in the commercials or wherever you see it, it's always like on the side of
Yep.
your arm,
yeah,
not
that's
on the
because
back.
there's a fat pouch there, and that keeps it going from into the muscle.
No, as I feel it right now, I don't have much fat there on the side of my muscle. It's sort
You
of in the
always, unless you're like an active bodybuilder, like who's like going to like as lean as possible and like was it dehydrating or something like that? For a show, yeah, you have fat there. There's always something there, but like it's not. So it's still very, it feels like you're on. It's like if you just go a little bit forward or a little bit. If you go a little bit forward, you're like you feel a muscle there, right? So I'm like, oh, am I too forward? Too forward? And then it's like I've taken apart the mechanism, so I've already like taken apart
because you
the
broke it.
applicator.
So
No, the applicator too.
Oh,
There's like a spring in it and whatever, and it just jabs you with the needle, and then sticks the tape thing on with the. It just punches in the fiber. That's what it does. And then while it's punching in the fiber, it is connecting the sensor, the fiber to the sensor little puck thing. So it's separated first, and then you apply it together, and then it activates the power to go through the device. Then it activates. It has to warm up for an hour, so you won't get any readings for an hour. So yeah, I don't know, man. It seems very wasteful the way they've constructed this. I think if you could, like, if they could make it a little bit bigger, they could make it a something that can be recharged or whatever. I think the sensor part is the thing that's the problem.
I would figure that they would have other ones that have at least like a connector on it, like USB.
No, I think that if they would flip the construction, so if they had like a base plate, that is the sensor, and they have a little thing that you put on top of it that you can recharge and whatever, that is the Bluetooth low energy thing, that would be so much better of a construction, because those base plates, it's a fiber, a little small piece of fiber that goes into your skin. And that's the replaceable thing. The rest of the thing doesn't need to be sterile, right? It just connects to the thing. You have some connectors, and I understand why they're doing it, because the way they connect it is like it looks like one of those spheres in like a gel thing where you connect them by pressing them together. Then you suddenly have a connection. I think it was like that connecting tape or something like that. Double-sided tape for like making electronic connections. I don't know, something like that. It looks like something like that. I take it apart. On Tuesday, I can take the next one apart, see what's in it.
Right, because you're trashing it. So you just trash them, right? You don't return them?
Yep.
Yeah, that seems wasteful.
Yep, $65. So I don't think I'll be beyond the next one. I bought 2 last round, so that'll be my 3rd. I don't know if I'll keep one after it, but like I also like the data, so maybe I'll keep it going for like 3 months until I have the next appointment with the diabetes assistant, and I can I was thinking of putting in when I take the medication to see how much it is doing. But then I keep forgetting. So, yep, fun times. And it's also kind of funny that I don't really notice the impact of the metformin as much. So
yeah. I mean, they pushed it up for me, and I don't feel like it was working. Right, I was getting to that point where, no matter how healthy I was eating, watching my intake, watching everything, it didn't feel like anything was working. And then I get the lab work, and she just put me on more medicine, which was fucking me up in different ways. And balanced me in different ways. And I feel more like a regular person now that I've been off a bunch of it for a moment. So
interesting.
And I don't feel affected by the carb hits or anything like that. Now, maybe the metformin and all that stuff was making me extra sensitive. But yeah, I just kind of don't feel like out of whack all the time. Because I have a bunch of stuff in me. And I've been seeing this for a long time. Our doctor should have just looked at our clipboard like it's an Excel spreadsheet. And they use medicines to muck around with the numbers. And
they say, ChatGPT, give me an answer.
Yeah, and they just basically kind of try to keep your lab work in a zone. They really aren't treating you. They're treating you prescriptions of things that have been pitched to them and saying, hey, this will solve that problem. Prescribe them our drug, our thing. And I don't know if there's a human thought behind it other than some existing studies and statistics that's saying this is the way it works. And they look at it and they grunt at it and they look at the numbers and they go, well, we want to make these numbers go less.
I don't know. This is it reversed for you?
I see 5.8 and there's an arrow. Without my glasses, I look at it and like, wait, what number is that? Yeah, 5.8.
Yeah, but is it reversed for you?
No, it just says 5.8. So
okay, so it's not reversed for you. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm currently at a very good range for me, right? So 5.8.
It's very good.
This is not the same scale you use, so for you it's different. Maybe I can switch it to a different one, but I noticed that when I eat something carby, right, I see that spike, like half an hour. I get that spike. And like if I have a croissant, I had a croissant this morning, I get that spike. So that spike you saw earlier in the day, that was a croissant. But like in the past, when I had when I did the
glucose test every morning.
Yeah, I had like it seemed like it wouldn't go down faster, right? So when I got this thing, I had like a spike, but it would keep high for like a very long time, and then it would go down eventually.
So where it's testing is not the same place as your fingertips. The reason they have us do this on the fingertips is primarily because
this is not, and it's not testing the blood. It's testing the interstitial fluid, I think, whatever it is. So it's not it's slightly delayed, but it is it's very on point. It's like very close to what if I check with my finger, right? So in the first week I was testing with my finger and I was like, oh, is it indeed the same? Yeah, it's pretty close. It's like
it's
point,
so I
point
noticed,
one off or something.
I noticed, and I've noticed this even in the gym. I have a dominant side of my body and the other side. So when I noticed when I started going to the gym, on my right side, in some areas, a lot of areas, was not as strong as the left side of my body is not as strong as the right side of my body, which is sort of dominant, even though I'm left-handed. Ironic. So the blood flow operates differently on my right than it does on my left. And so I could do a finger test, add same finger, whatever it is, and I could get a different response that was higher on my right side versus my left side. And whether I did the inner side of my finger or the outer side of my finger, I would get different sort of areas, right? And so I knew that when I would be testing on my right side for the week, I knew that the numbers might be a little higher. But if I was really concerned, I'd go check, on the left side and see if they're the same or not, right? Because our blood sort of chills out. It's not always like moving around, and it's not going from your right pinky all the way over to your left pinky in the next hour. Like, it doesn't work that way. And so whatever it's testing and how it's testing it, that is sort of more on an extremity of your body, not on, closer to where the blood flows.
Well, it's doing it really well so far. So
yeah, I mean, if it's giving you the data and insight that you need, then then it's adding value.
Yep. I really wanted to be able to just drag it into Home Assistant, but nobody's made a thing for it yet. So
there's no API.
There's sort of an API, but it's not official. So they basically reverse engineered the API. You have to make a separate user for it with a different email address. So you can drag it in because you can share your data with somebody else. So I could share my data with you, and you could see or you're with your doctor or with your family members or whatever. So yeah.
Well, here's your opportunity to make an integration.
No.
You need another project.
Yeah, indeed. There's too many projects going on.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah. So I think I'll be taking maybe I'll keep wearing it for 2 more months, and then I'll see. It's $130 a month.
It's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. But still, it gives me the data I want. So it also gives me an estimated A1C.
Well, that's good. The lab work is really the best accurate way of getting your A1C.
Yes, but I'm not getting blood drain every week for that.
No, and even then,
it gives me an estimate. I'm good.
That test doesn't really become accurate unless it's 6 months or 3 months, right? It's really my doctor will have to do it every 3 months, or do a check-in with me every 6, depending on when the last, what the lab work looked like, unless I come in and make a request to come in earlier.
Yeah, but the fun thing is, in the couple of months ago, when I was using the cola, I knew something was off, and I checked the glucose and it was high, and I was like, why am I staying so high? Why is it? I didn't eat anything in the last. Oh, of course I was drinking cola. I didn't know, so But it would even if I just drank water, it would just stay high anyway. So so I may have broken myself a little bit there for a couple of months.
Yeah, the other advantage of the last half year for me has been going to the gym, and I noticed. I mean, I always notice, but reminded and reconfirmed that when I'm stressed out, I want a snack. Yeah. Right. And, searching for a job can be stressful. Yep. But then I would go to the gym and I'd make my body sweat. I'd make it, force it to sort of, expunge, all the stuff, get the stuff out of my body, burn it off. And if I was stressed, I'd go work out.
Yeah.
So stress wouldn't affect those numbers. It would improve them.
I just got really cranky.
Well, that happens too. Well, I get really cranky if I'm hungry, so I get a
If
little.
if I'm if my glucose is high, I get cranky.
Yeah, really. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that it's mostly for like low glucose, but like no, when I'm high I get cranky, I get irritated very easily. It's like not a very happy person at that point.
No, then that's your indicator.
Yep. But yeah, but like I'd like it to I like to know it before oop, I like to know it before it happens. So anyway, so I've also been playing with Meshtastic. More I've been building more nodes,
Yeah,
solar
3D
nodes.
printing things.
Yep. And it's been working pretty well. I did have a little incident where I I exported the configuration for one of the nodes and then re-imported it. And maybe something went wrong, but I re-imported it and it was set to the router mode, and it's not supposed to be set to router mode because people get angry when you do that if you're not like the tallest building in the wide area. If you're not on top of a hill, and here in the Netherlands, being on top of a hill is very hard to do because there's not many of them. There's some like TV towers and stuff like that, but yeah, there's not a lot of like high area here in the neighborhood. So some people were angry, so I had to go and this was in the middle of me having like a glucose problem. So I was like awake in the middle of the night. People started complaining, "Brr, stuff is down. It's being caused by these nodes." And they were mentioning my nodes, so I was like, okay. So in the middle of the night, I went to the office. I reconfigured the node to be a client, and then that worked. But yeah, I don't know how that happened, but like it happened. So I went and fixed it. So that's kind of a new thing to learn, I guess. And I've been playing with the rack uh, nodes. So from a company called Rack, and they have like a motherboard which you can put like which has power input and like solar charging and whatever in it. And yeah, it requires you to provide like no more than 5.5 volts. So some solar panels do a little bit more. They do like 6 volts. So I always use a separate solar charger for that stuff for the batteries. And I bought a bunch of lipos or 18650s, um, and I got them from like a Dutch store. They're not that expensive, and they work fine. They work great. They're like older stock, so they're not as good. But two of them together will last quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The batteries have been charging full every day, so even like not as much sun yet. But I don't know if they'll survive next winter. But we'll see. If they die, they die. That's the problem. That's their problem, not mine. So I'm just making a bunch of notes. They're watertight, so they should be fine. Um, I'm still playing around with like which case I use, but I have like different. Um, I have these electricity boxes like that are meant for watertight situations. So I get one of those, and I have like a little valve on it that like keeps the air pressure in check, so that you don't have like water coming in or water. Um, it's like to keep so there's no condensation on the inside because of the different air pressures. So it equalizes the pressure, and it prevents water from getting in. And then I put in some pressure sensors, so I can now see if there's a pressure difference. So basically a little weather station, so with the temperature in it. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of weird because the board it's on, so there's a bit of a difference in temperature because it's like almost like degrees difference in temperature. I think that's probably because of the heat from the board itself. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see what happens in the winter or in the summer if it's in the full sun. See what the temperatures and pressure levels are going to be like. It's kind of funny because I can map that in Home Assistant because I have a node in my home network that I can just get all the data from.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to MQTT, and then I can just read that from the thing. Works really well. So yeah, and then I have built. I think I have like 7 nodes ready to be deployed. So like as it's outside nodes with like solar panels on it and little batteries in it, like all sorts of like. I've been building like a factory for these things. So and I hope to place them in like locations. So yeah, fun times.
It's something we're gonna hear about every month for a while.
I think so.
Yeah.
You had a thing you got.
Yeah. So going to the gym and now sort of going, being on the train 3 days a week, going into the city for work. Um, so I love my Sony earbuds. These, I don't know, WM something or the MX5s to the last few, characters. Um, and so they're great. They sound amazing. They're really good in anti-noise canceling. You can really tweak it a lot through the app with the mobile device. The problem is they don't sort of stay in my ear.
Hmm.
They do if I'm not really moving around. So if I go to the gym and they're black. So if they go to the gym and I'm on the treadmill, I have a couple of occasions where one of them I was putting them away. One of them slips out of my hands and then it tumbles around and bounces and then no idea where it went. You think it went left. It went, it went 15 feet to the left, way behind you. And and so that's sort of not, and it's happened to me a couple times, and then I find it. It's not not the end of the day. I got sort of a moment where I lost it, and I think I left it in the treadmill little tray. And I came into the gym next day, and I said, "Hey, did you find?" And I started to describe it, and they looked in a lot, and there it was. I said, "Oh, well, no, if it's mine." And then immediately I heard it, connect to my phone. So I got to this point where, well, now I'm traveling with them on the train, and that's going to even be more of a problem because I can't really go hunt around on the train, and it just, becomes stressful. And so I was like, all right, I got to look for something that I used to have in the past that were really good. They had really terrible, like, charging connector, the Jaybirds. Well, Logitech bought them.
Are evil.
And the Jaybirds, I had these Jaybirds that were that sort of had the cables. They were connected, so they were earbuds, but they weren't like wireless ones like compared to the Sonys. So I went hunting around, and I was like, all right, let's see what Anker's got. And Anker had something that was reasonable, and they have like the Jaybirds. They have these wings, so they kind of loop around your ear, so they're staying. And they're pretty good sounding, pretty affordable compared to the Sonys. So I bought a pair, and I left them in my coat. And I really enjoyed it. And I know when I put them in, they're going nowhere, and they've been pretty good for being in my jacket at work on the train. And then I realized, well, now that I solved my problem, I really need a set for the gym. So I brought a set of white ones. And they've been really good for me when I'm at the gym because now I can work out and I have zero problem with it. So I bought, a set of 2 of them in different colors. And they've been really, really nice. And they don't seem like you can tweak a lot, but you can. I let it do its sort of calibration, and then I went in and I tweaked it a little bit. And their calibration process is pretty good too.
But you have to get a separate app for that?
You don't need to have the app, but yeah, there's an app for it. So yeah. And it works for obviously both the Anchor sound cores that I have. So,
So you got
and
the Anchor Soundcore earbuds.
earbuds X20s. Now, here's the thing that is a killer for me. That's amazing. That I noticed one day that I could also in the app turn the mode on so I could also pair it with my laptop at work. So I can go from listening to my music again from my phone, then hopping into a meeting, and it's seamless.
Okay.
And that makes like a tremendous amount of difference. So I guess in theory, now they're in my jacket and my Sony's are sitting up here. Um, but I mean, I could get a third set, for example, and leave it up here and have it also connect with my phone and have it, on my desktop here.
Until you leave it in your jacket pocket or something, and then you have to go downstairs.
Yeah. Well, I will say the recording audio on the Sony's is much better. I tested that compared to the Soundcores. But they're sufficient, right? I mean, I'm not going to do a lot of there are occasions where I hop into a friend's TikTok live. They're doing these things called boxes, which is sort of like, the gallery view that you see, on Zoom, where everyone's in a box. And if I just hop in to say hello, oftentimes they'll request me to come up, and so I will. But then I always had to mute myself, say, hold on, go all the way downstairs, go grab the earbuds, and then go hang out with them, live. So now at least I have a setup here. I can just do that immediately if that happens. And if not, I'm in the kitchen. I have two places I can grab a set. So, yeah.
You had a link for this?
I did, and it's soundcore.com, and it was asking for weird things, so we ditched the link for it. So
yeah. So if you're wondering,
if you're looking
look on Amazon, probably, I guess.
Yeah, if you type in Soundcore, if you type in the description that I listed there, obviously without the hyphens that we have in the notes, it will give you an option right on Amazon. Go look at Amazon. By comparison to, now I know what earbuds, the AirPods from Apple, they're still riding at $160 or something. The Pros are probably more.
I think these are I have the AirPods.
Yeah.
The AirPods. I'm very happy with them. They are so far the only headphones that have lasted longer than a year for me.
Oh, interesting.
So I got the previous ones, my previous set. This is my newer set because I wanted to get a new one. And they were getting a little bit grimy on the inside because they're in your ears all day. So
got it.
So I was cleaning it, and then I punched through with a little piece of thing, and then that didn't work no more. I got some new ones, but these are the only ones that haven't died on me. The AirPods from Apple are the only ones that haven't died on me. And, and the cool thing about this, I can switch these between my phone and my Android phone and my laptop and my work laptop and my iPad and all sorts of other stuff without much hassle. And I really like that.
Yeah, and that was the nice thing about these sound cards. The Sonys were not so much. Well, they're always been with my phone. There was a moment you could pair them with your PC, but these fives, for some reason, just won't pair with my desktop. And I haven't tried recently. I did sort of change Bluetooth on it, so I haven't tried recently. But the sound cores were pretty good, and when I wanted to do a second one, I just flipped the switch, and then it was immediately started to pair, and I went into my laptop, and done. So that was really smooth. Was really a good smooth experience. Now, I also noticed that Anchor Soundcores has AirPod equivalents. The prices on them are probably higher. These were only $80 US dollars. So they're pretty good for value and price, and I've been very happy with that. So I know historically anything that's kind of good is the AirPod Plus price, right? And I'm not into open back or anything like that. If I want to hide from the world, and all the noise, same thing on the train, at work or at the gym. Definitely at the gym, because sometimes I don't know who is in control of the music, but sometimes it's really bad music. Or there's always some woman, usually the same woman, who likes to sing, and she can't sing, and she's out of tune, and she does it really loudly, and she's having a good old time, but the rest of us are in pain. So that's the value add, is the noise cancellation.
The one thing I do want to add, like with these, also one of the things for these AirPods is like the original AirPods, not the AirPods, but the earbuds from Apple.
Yeah.
They used to have like this strong, this sharp edge on the inside, so on the inside of the little thing here. Yeah. And that would cut into my ear, and I would be very annoyed with them. They were great AirPods because they worked. The wire would go at eventually, and that's why I like these, because they're wireless. Yeah. And the problem I had with the Jaybirds and that kind of stuff, I would have these issues with my ears where I would feel like everything was out of tune. Turns out it was the silicone tips that were pulling a vacuum on my ears.
You used the foam tips.
Well, I didn't know, so
I also wasn't when I had them. I still have them. They're over there on the side. I wasn't jogging, so I wasn't like sweating. And even when I jog, I'm not sweating in my ears. This is not how my body works. So whatever I have default, that were basically, I think these are the silicone ones, but they've been comfortable, really comfortable for me, and firm. I
hate all the silicone tips.
Yeah,
I'm not getting the AirPods Pro because I don't want to get that problem again. Because I will stick them too far in, and then.
Yeah, I will comment that I eventually, the battery on the X4s went, and that's where I got the 5s. But those X4s lasted me years. Like not a year, like years, before they finally died. And there was like a point where I wasn't using them that often. So they weren't getting charged as much. It's a minor little thing, but these X5s, if I put this on a Q wireless charging, it charges, right? Where the Soundcores, you like these, they snap. So these are the X4s.
I can't see.
I know, but you could hear.
Okay.
Right? They snap, and when I close the lid, it snaps. On the Soundcores, it collapses very quietly. And you got to plug it in to charge. No big deal. But I can't just stick it on the wireless charging pad and have it magically charge. So I'm getting used to that, because I'm used to that.
So the AirPods, they charge with a little. This is still the Lightning one.
Oh yeah,
okay. But they also have like a wireless charging, so you can just stick it on the iPhone wireless charging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, that's the one thing the Sonys have, and I could plug them in, and I see the light goes on and it's charging, and I don't have to pull a cable around to plug it in or anything like that. Again, not the end of the day. When I'm at work, I literally have a cable I have my the headphone version, because I bought a second one. So I have, set here at home that are the wireless headphones. And then I had a spare set, so I would usually keep it in a laptop bag, but, I'm at work and put them to use. And I brought them into work, and I have like a little charging cable, C cable coming around on a headphone, thing. And so now lately I've been using the Soundcores that are in my jacket, and I literally leave the case sort of charging, while I'm there on top of my laptop. So, it's really not the end of the day. It's very workable, especially also the fact that it's only a third of the price compared to the Sonys.
Okay. Do you want to go over the links?
Yeah, let's go to links. Actually, now I think about it, it's a fourth of the price. The Sonys are expensive. So.
Yep. I remember buying a pair of Sony headphones in the Philadelphia airport because my I think it was my Jaybirds, they broke.
Yeah.
Was it
I had
may have been the Sennheisers that broke. Anyway, I got the Sony ones.
Yeah.
And they were very expensive. They lasted me for about 6 months, and then they died.
No, the headphones, the ones that cover your ears, these are really old, and
Not like the in-ear things.
Oh yeah, the in-ear. Yeah, like I said, I used the X4s a lot, and they lasted plenty fine for multiple years. And these X5s came out, I think, last year, and I bought these this year, I think. I think it was this year. So, yeah. Anyhow, point being is I have not had that experience. It was my point. So.
Okay, so I've been adding a bunch of links to the latest podcast link list, and I've gathered quite a few. So some episodes you get like 2, and other episodes you get 20.
Yeah.
So I don't exactly remember what this was again. But oh, I remember this one. This was it was a pretty long video, but it was like it's about like very precise movement with
a little actuator
with So how do you get like nanometer precise or micrometer precise movement? That was pretty interesting. Polymatic link /1HK. It really made me think of like those old How It's Made type dealios, or they used to have like these science video like TV programs on the Dutch TV where they would go into like these like minutia of things.
Yeah, How It's Made was one of them. That was
but
Discovery
this is
Channel.
Not as this reminded me more of the Dutch variant of this.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Anyway, then Distant Horizons is like a plugin for Minecraft where you can do like a longer range view of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see your friends playing with stuff in the distance instead of having to set the render distance like the largest amount, then you still don't see the horizon. So Polymatic link /1HL for that one. Then the M8 tracker, Polymatic link /1HM. This is like in the
sequencer.
This is a sequencer, but like it looks like the late 90s. It's like a little display on it.
Yeah, but this looks like amazing for the late 90s.
What?
Roland had a, I don't know if it's called the M track. Maybe it's the M3 or something. It was a little hardware thing before teenage engineering came around and started producing, the Op 1 and stuff like that.
So it reminded me of the stuff like from the late 90s where I would like play with like a tracker. There's like a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them, but I think the one that was really, really good was that Roland one, that was also pocket size.
Oh, but I'm talking about like software from like on a.
Oh, you're talking about the Casio?
No, I'm talking about like software on a PC. Like there were these trackers. They were used to make music for stuff like Unreal, like the first game.
Oh yeah, so I had things that were very similar. I forget the name of the software, but I used to make a lot of stuff, and it was a MIDI tracker.
Impulse Tracker, Edit, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but there was
different.
There's one on the 2GS that was like that. It looked like a spreadsheet, and it was very similar. And you would fill in, those different MIDI codes for things. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that was pretty interesting. Then what's his name again? Um, the video is called "I won't connect my dishwasher to your stupid cloud."
Yeah.
Polymatic/1HN, and I feel
I'm,
this so.
I feel
I'm
I'm very familiar with Home Connect. So, which reminds me, I gotta grab a battery up here and update a sensor in my fridge and my freezer. Um, so I went through a whole bit of drama when I bought a fridge. The one fridge I wanted to get, um, I couldn't get because the way it really kind of it's stupid, but basically the places around here, most of the stuff in the U.S., they won't hold anything more than like a month in stock. So I can't like roll in. I'm buying a new house. I can't roll in August and saying, "Hey, I'm closing on the 14th in October. I want to buy a fridge. I want to buy that fridge. I want to buy that fridge while it's in stock, right? And reserve it." And then say, "Oh, well, we're going to charge you $35 a month to, have it in stock." Great, thank you, right? But no, I had to go. They wouldn't hold it longer than 30 days, so I had to coordinate. So I had to come in on exactly September 15th, and buy the fridge. And they had 130 of them when I came in August, but they don't have them anymore. So I compromised. I bought a different fridge. That fridge lasted for a moment, then it broke. And I had to go back and forth fixing it. So I ended up buying myself a Bosch. I thought, let me buy a higher quality fridge. And I love the thing. And it's been flawless. And compared to that other fridge, which was a whole different brand, a reasonably reliable brand, it's been amazing. And of course, I opened up the door and it says, connected to your Wi Fi. And I was like, okay. So I did that.
Oh
And then I
no, you did
went through
it.
the effort of the Home Connect.
Oh
And
no.
if I use the Home Connect, it will tell me all the temperatures in the different zones of the fridge, and it will notify me if the fridge door is open or is cracked open or if there's a problem. And but if I try to go connect to this thing directly through Home Assistant, none of that telemetry is available to me through the API. I can get an alert that the fridge is open. But what about the temperature sensors? I don't care about. Yeah, I care about the door thing, but like I care more about the temperature sensors in the fridge.
I think there
So,
should be a moment where, as a society, we just say no to that kind of shit.
right, exactly. It doesn't cost me anything, so that's a good thing. So this guy's like,
Well, until
oh,
until it doesn't work anymore,
yeah. And then, oh, yeah, right. And they
and then your
decide to
your
change their
your
API.
fridge is a big security risk in your home network.
Yeah. So I think eventually I did kick it off. I don't know if I kicked it off the network or not. So my solution, which is not just sort of stopping my tangent, but I just went and I bought a bunch of Govee sensors and I stuck them one in the corner of the fridge and one in the corner of the freezer. And that's how I get my temperature. And then I got, I can snoop it through Bluetooth and I can get it, in the Home Assistant. So, but the fact that this person had to use the app to unlock features, that's really hideous. Now, mine's a fridge. So it works, and then eventually one day it doesn't work. And outside of that, it has no bells and whistles that are important, right? That you need to be enhanced by an app. So,
Yeah. This
the,
was what was his name again? Jeff Gerling. By the way, he's on. I've shared more of his videos, but like he's very into the open source stuff, so very good. He also did like a bunch of stuff for Raspberry Pi, so you could how you set up a NVMe on a Raspberry Pi 5. That was very useful. I used it last week.
oh,
Used this website last week to set up a new Raspberry Pi with a NVMe disk. Anyway, Farmer versus Neighbor. This is what's his name? There's the Backyard Scientist and what's the other guy's name?
Go tell us about the video.
So this is William Osman.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Osman. Yeah. I think he thrives on chaos.
Oh yes.
And
He's
at some point it makes me hurt.
Yeah. So he has like a bunch of he got a house with a farm, I think, at some point, and he's trying to grow crops in his backyard. So yeah, and he's like with he put it's now red. He suggested putting like a grape flavoring on top of it to prevent the birds from eating the stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
he could have. I mean, having the land is important, but he could have simplified and put some greenhouses down, right? Even if it was sort of just covering his land.
But he's in California, so
I understand,
but they're just gonna cook.
No, but
inside.
you can have fan systems and regulate and put solar on them to regulate to provide power.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can do things, right? And he could. That would have been more systematically smart for him, so he could protect himself from bugs and birds and squirrels and whatever. Anyhow, like I said, watching his videos makes me hurt sometimes. A lot of times, actually, lately.
Yeah. It was pretty funny for me. I've been enjoying his new videos on his second channel.
Yeah, that was Polymatic.link
/1HO zero. Yep. Not zero, as in the
as an orange.
Yeah, as an orange. And then home automation consumed my life, and you're next. The guy with the Google Glass type thing on his face.
Yeah.
Polymatic link /1HP. So it's kind of funny.
He was talking about HomeKit stuff.
And Home Assistant too.
And Home Assistant, yeah.
Okay, then replace Mac M4 replacement SSD, because the new M4 Mac Minis or Mac Studios have a little. They look like an M2 slot. They're not exactly an M2 slot. So Apple did its own thing. This is something that should be this should be regulated. This is a big problem. Anyway, they made a little board that you can just get for your machine and get like way more storage for way cheaper. So it's Polymatic link /1HQ. Polymatic link /1HS for Home Assistant custom sensors. As you can tell, I was going down the rabbit hole of adding custom sensors because I was hooking up Meshtastic to my Home Assistant. Yep. So that's 1HS for that one. I hate my phone, so I got rid of it. Eddie Burback, he's a pretty funny guy. He got rid of his phone for like a month, and went back to like Rolodexes and a home phone and that kind of stuff. It was pretty funny. So, and like instead of Google Maps, he was using like pre-looked up instructions. So that was pretty funny. Polymatic link /1HT, and then you're up.
Yeah. So one comment about. So it used to be that aside from listening to music, I was not looking at my phone. I put it off to the side. My phone is always on silent, and I have so many notifications. So occasionally I look and clear them out or manage them. But I was not letting my phone be a distraction for me when I was working. But now that's impossible because I have so many of these like one-time, passcode things that I have to re-authenticate for MFA and and so it's impossible for me not to have my phone nearby and have to use it even for work. So it's insidiety. So I can put my phone down and exist without it and go do things in the house and go bake and not worry about my phone for hours, and I've done that. But it's also the key to my car and the key to my house and my wallet from having to go dig it out of my pocket. And it's so sort of integrated in my life. But I do have a pretty good discipline. I'm not addicted to my phone. Like I don't need to go look at TikTok and Instagram and messages and email, and I look at those things because I manage those notifications because I don't want to walk in there and have 500 of them. Right? It
Mm-hmm.
is. You go on vacation, you come back, and there's 6,000 emails. Right? And now you spend your whole day managing the emails. Or your whole morning. So anyhow, so Mark Cuban put out a thing. He's saying I like to see a TikTok clone on the AT protocol, which is basically what Blue Sky is running off of.
Mm-hmm.
So someone took the challenge up, and now he's funding them. And they released a thing called Skylight Social. So you use the AT protocol, and you put in your Blue Sky account or whichever ones you want, and you get to see sort of a TikTok like, it's very TikTok light kind of clone, to sort of see a video feed, and you can also contribute and upload your own stuff too. So anyhow, I just thought you might be interested in that for a moment. Mine is kind of political. That's what's coming into me. I don't know what your version would look like and I haven't really trained my Blue Sky. I follow a bunch of people, but I really kind of, give it some rating of what I like or dislike or anything like that. So, I don't know. I thought it might be of interest to you. Polymatic.link/1i as an internet 2. So it's really basic. Maybe it gets better. I'm looking forward to Neptune coming out. That's sort of a TikTok alternative, when the ban happened. And
It was supposed to happen last Friday, but nope.
Yeah, they got extended again.
Mm-hmm.
But Neptune, I think the iOS apps are out for the beta people. And somewhere in May, is the Android app. So I'll be looking forward to checking that out when that happens. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's my one link for that, and then you got a bunch of music, and then I have a few things as well.
Okay. So I was listening to something, and I was like, "Hey, this kind of sounds like Churches," which is a band from the UK, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I said something
No,
really
aren't they
horrible
Russian?
now.
Aren't they
No,
Russian?
no, 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 no.
So I think the girls are Russian, even though it may be a
No,
band from
no,
the
no,
UK.
no, 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 no. It's Scottish. It's Scottish.
Scottish? Okay.
Yep, 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 yep. So it is from the UK, even though if I say that around my colleague, it would be a bit of a problem. Lauren Mayberry, Sunday Best. Turns out this is the singer for Churches. I was like, hey, it sounds familiar. She kind of sounds like that singer from Churches, and that was indeed the case. So Polymatic.link/1HU, and then Great Nothing, Eden Rain, Polymatic.link/1HV, then Boys Go to Jupiter, Virginia, Polymatic.link/1HW, and then Yeems, People Pleaser, Polymatic.link/1HX. Okay. Aaron LeCount, Silver Spoon, Polymatic.link/1HY. I also made a note there. Sounds like Churches too. Polymatic.link/1HY for that one. Then 18cc, Polymatic.link/1HZ. Then a whole concept album, Polymatic.link/1I1. That's called Epic, and it's like a musical style thing for the Odyssey. So yeah, that was pretty good. And then a little funny thing, EAO, Polymatic.link/1I0.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I threw in, because I didn't really have a lot of links, I threw in a bunch of music that I kind of been listening to. This is a general recommend for people like pop music. She writes a lot, then she is her own artist. So a lot of the best popular hits that you have ever heard of, she's probably been part of the writing process. But Julia Michaels, general recommend. I don't know why. It's not the lyrics. I think it's her music, right? It's just something about her music that really just clicks in for me. not necessarily the lyrics that are that are aligned to the song, but it's called "Hurt Again." And this goes over to YouTube for you. Polymatic.link/1i3. It's just sort of been the earworm in my head. It's just something about it, just like this the song pattern and her singing and everything to it. Again, lyrics, I de-emphasize listening to the lyrics. I just like how things are being sung, the melody, the everything about the song and how it sort of is constructed. That's what appeals mostly to me. So this is one JNR Chow, I guess. This is clearly French. Sam Tompkins. I used To the Moon in TikTok, video stuff I've been doing. I really like it. It's just really chill. Polymatic.link/1i4. And then Will Hyde, I picked up, I don't know, we're somewhere along the lines, but I have a couple of his things in my Spotify playlist. And this is one of the songs I really like by him. So I've been sort of slowly digesting some of his music. Polymatic.link/1i5. And then an artist that, the Spotify rap has reminded me, I seem to like Quinn92 a lot because I never tire of listening to his music. Good chance I can listen to a song and I never really kind of like, ooh, I really don't like that. The first couple albums that I had before I was starting to really use Spotify and that he had more albums to have, I was getting tired of hearing certain songs a lot, but I always liked them. And so this is just one off of a most recent album called Close Calls. I would just recommend the whole album in general. Polymatic.link/1i6. I think what I did is I gave you the video in the playlist for Close Calls. So this whole playlist is basically the latest album, which is pretty good. So there you go. Quinn92.
Okay. Well, Alan, where can they find you?
On TikTok lately.
Okay, Polymatic.link/Alan for that one.
Yeah.
You can find me at Polymatic.link/John. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast at Polymatic.media. Website is Polymatic.media, where you can find all our links too. And I hope you tune in next time.